Guys, welcome back, and we are joined by the absolutely adorable Zelda, my good friend's Connie Corso puppy, who I've been helping raise and train, and we're going to document her journey going from 8-week-old puppy that you saw recently through to what will be the perfect canine companion when she's done. Now, her training is going beautifully. Her crate training is absolutely perfect. Her socialization is going brilliantly. They had a few hiccups with toilet training, but we helped them get over those hurdles really quickly. Socialization, awesome. Her manners are impeccable. I haven't seen her jump up for weeks. She's doing beautifully. She's a sweetheart. She's confident. Everything's going well. And we've been starting to work on our obedience. The obedience basics are getting good. But in this video, I want us to focus on how you go about teaching a puppy to walk beautifully on a loose lead from the get-go. So the first thing I want us to talk about is a concept called yielding to pressure. Now, that might sound a little bit advanced, but just hear me out. Many people, when it comes to training a puppy to walk nicely on a lead, don't necessarily always have the problem of them pulling, but they have the problem of them doing this. I want to get her to go somewhere, and she's just digging in now, and she's pulling against that pressure. Now, this is why she's lying down, but she also does this whenever we're trying to walk somewhere. As soon as she becomes unsure, she digs her heels in. Now, what your natural inclination to do is to go do this. Oh, I'm pulling on her, that can't be very comfortable. Oh, what's the matter? Now, in that moment, so much has just happened in a negative way when it comes to your long-term training strategy, and let me explain. What has happened in that moment is I put pressure on the lead, she dug into it or didn't move, and the pressure turned off. So she learned to turn the lead pressure off. She has to dig in and fight that lead pressure. What that does is it furthers what we call her oppositional reflex. If somebody pushes you, you have a reflex to want to lean into it. But when it comes to dogs, we want to switch that round and turn that oppositional reflex to our advantage by getting them to yield to it. So when they feel that pressure, they yield to the pressure rather than digging in. And I'm going to show you the really basic drill that we start at about this age to start working on that oppositional reflex, especially when we've got a dog that is definitely digging in more, which she's doing. We're going to take this outside and we'll show you this when she digs in outside later on. But if I want to get her to come, she's now digging in against that pressure, and she has learned, no fault of their owners, they didn't realize at the time, that by digging in and fighting the pressure, that the pressure turns off and then she gets what she wants, which is to not move. However, what we want to do is utilize a pressure on, pressure off system. So I've got some beef liver here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that pressure on because I want her to come this way. I'm going to let her know that there's something very tasty. If you want it, you're going to have to come to it. Come on, Zelda. Yeah. And as soon as she commits, I turn the pressure off with the lead. Now, what we need to start doing with this, now she knows I've got it, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But pressure goes on. As soon as she yields to the pressure, she gets a little bit of it. We're going to move again. Pressure on. She yields. I turn the pressure off, and she gets a little nibble on the beef liver. Now, we're going to take this outside later and show you what that looks like when she's digging her heels in outside. But you can start that in this kind of environment. But in a low distraction environment like this, what you'll find is as soon as she knows that I have something tasty on me, she's going to be engaged with me and want to follow me anyway. But if I kind of show it you here, so kind of pressure goes in, she yields to it, and she yields into a reward. Pressure goes on, she yields into a reward. Pressure goes on, yields into a reward. And I need to make sure that I turn that pressure off. And through doing reps and reps of this, what we're teaching her is, whenever you feel this pressure in whatever direction, yield to it and go with it, and something good's going to happen on the other side. And if we ever need to get to a point where we need to apply a little bit more pressure that might start to fall into the realms of being a little bit uncomfortable for her, she knows how to turn that pressure off by yielding into it, and that turns the pressure off. And you're going to be able to use that to your advantage massively in the future. So we've come to an industrial area here, and we're not necessarily working on perfect lead walking at this point, but I'm purposely putting her in a situation. This is perfect. The cameraman backs off. Pressure, she's digging her heels in now because there's loads of loud noises. She's digging in, pressure on. Yes. And we move. What she hasn't learned there is that by digging in, she gets to win. She still has to come with me and follow me to turn that pressure off, but being fair to her and bringing a reward in so that it isn't all conflict between me and her. We found ourselves in a bit of a difficult situation. I want to go this way and you don't want to. The pressure is going to stay on until you do what I want you to do. But because I care and because I'm nice, I'm going to help you out with a lovely treat just to help you understand what the right decision is. And then when you make that right decision, you get a little bit of a nibble on that treat. So I'm just going to walk up and down here now, and if the cameraman kind of stays and follows us, and we'll just see if we can get any reps of this, especially as we start hearing the loud. So again, perfect, beautiful. So she's a bit unsure, digging in, and that turns the pressure off. And now we're moving. Pressure went off on the lead. If she digs in, look, making a better decision, good. And as we find busier places and louder noises, that'll help. And there's loads going on. And again, at the minute, this is far from nice heel, but we need to get over this oppositional reflex before we can move into the fancier pieces of the puzzle. So yeah, we're going to move this way, see if she wants to follow. Yeah, digging in, helping her, good. Pressure turns off. And we're just finding lots of repetitions to help her understand that whenever time you feel this pressure, you don't dictate how that pressure gets turned off. You have to yield to the pressure for the pressure to get turned off. But when you do so, you get a reward for doing so at the same time. So after we were working on the yielding to lead pressure, and as I always say, keep your sessions short, keep them sweet, keep them fun. She's had some time in her crate, she's had a nice snooze, and we're going to pick back up. Now this time, we're not going to be focusing on yielding to lead pressure. That is going to be a drill that we're going to be working on literally constantly. Anytime she's on a lead, that's how we're going to navigate her digging into the pressure. She is never, moving forward, going to ever be able to dig in against the pressure and get her own way. She's going to always have to yield to pressure, but again, we're going to use reward to help her make a good decision. But now we're going to start moving into some basics of actually teaching heel a little bit more formally. Now, with Zelda, as part of her training, we've been teaching her how to follow a law. It's how we taught her how to sit, teaching her the basics of obedience. And we're going to just start doing some very basic shaping of the heel position. So she's going to follow it. Yes. And when she's in that position, I'm going to mark it with my yes marker and give her a little bit of a nibble. Then I'm going to take a step, lure her back into that position. Come on. Yes. Let her have a treat. Move slightly. Yes. Yes. But as I just went to top up some treats, this is a really good example of something I want to talk about. This is quite common with new dog owners, is that you'll have this front-facing sit position. She's been trained and it's lovely, it's beautiful manners, and I would 100% rather that than, good girl, than the alternative of her bounding all over the place and jumping up. But a little trick that you can start to do is shaping that heel position to be that. So instead of her doing this, which she has learnt is kind of a good thing to do. And now I want, because she is being beautifully mannered, I want to come down and tell her that that's okay. But what if we taught her to do that in a heel position instead? So again, let's kind of go through that process again. So we've got some food. We lure her into the position that we want. Yes. And when she's there, we mark and reward. Now, if you were doing competition levels of heel or protection sports or different things, we might want to go into the nitty-gritty of, for example, this slight angle position here, you might want to kind of tidy up. But for me, for pet dog owners, I absolutely love this. Is more than enough for me. I want you on my left-hand side and on a loose lead. So what I'm going to be doing is I'll lure her into the position. When she's in this position, yes, and reward, keep it super simple. And we're just going to start making a game of that. We'll start by adding little turns to the right, little turns to the left. And as we're turning, we're going to be luring her into these different positions as we go. Then over kind of the sessions as we move forward, we might even start adding a couple of steps in, but we're luring her in this position. And every time she's in this position, we mark and we reward. Now, over time, we can then start adding our cue of heel to that position. But frankly, I don't want you to overly complicate things at this stage. Lure your dog into that heel position that you want them in. When they're there, mark and reward. We can add a cue or we can add the command later on, but start to build the picture that when you're in this position next to me, good things are going to happen. Now, the next stage of me teaching puppies how to walk beautifully on a loose lead is, I suppose, a little bit cheating. You could argue that, but that's where I use Uncle Sully. Now, this is kind of part of my training system. It's not super scientific. Zelda, sit. Good. Standards, we always keep them high no matter what's happening. I've asked you to sit, you stay sat until I tell you otherwise. But the utilising a role model dog. Now, for me, this taps into my theories and ideas around pack dynamics. But I know that these two have played plenty, and I know that Zelda looks up to Uncle Sully. So what I do is I either walk them together like this, or I even tether the puppy to Sully. Then we move, and we move as a pack. And I truly believe that a puppy's natural instincts to want to follow the pack and tap into those pack dynamics, and then learning through doing, learning through observing, something that you might kind of refer to as model rival theory, and the puppy seeing how happy I am with Sully and then wanting to copy what Sully's doing to be able to gain the access. Sit. Good. Good girl. Holding her accountable and maintaining my expectations. Again, Sully's modelling these behaviours for me, and I'm holding her to the same standards that I am. Nope, this is really good to watch live. Sit. Good. So you can see that I'm following through. I'm making sure that she's listening and doing as I've asked. And even though I'm filming, I've asked you to sit and wait nicely. Uncle Sully's doing it beautifully, and I expect you to be able to do the same thing. Again, he's modelling behaviours. Yes, she's a puppy. Yes, she's not going to be able to do it as well as Sully, but I can't let her get away with things. I stay calm. At no point do I get frustrated or annoyed. I stay calm. I stay relaxed. I don't mind lying down. Some people don't like that, but for me, essentially what I'm asking is that we just stopped here and I just need you to be calm and either sit. And again, I don't mind a down, especially for large Mastiff breeds, and owning Mastiff breeds. I've always let them get away with this because sitting for long periods can be a lot on their hips. But I'm going off on a tangent. When it comes to teaching them to walk really nicely, again, just attaching them to a role model dog or having them follow a role model dog can work absolute wonders. And again, this is a situation in which I kind of let Sully make me look really good. So we regularly are going to be going for walks like this, where she's going to be following me and following Sully and learning from Sully to help understand what it is that I want from both of them. Now, if you don't have access to a role model dog, that's okay. Everything else we're discussing in this video is absolutely going to apply, or you can come and book in for a session with me and my team, and you'll get access to situations like this that can take your training from good to great, or go and work with a really experienced trainer that has an excellent role model dog that can do similar things for you. And again, if you want to come and work with me and Uncle Sully and have some access to Uncle Sully style training, there'll be a link to my centre in the description box below. You can go and check that out. But for right now, this will be an interesting opportunity. She's settled down now, and this is often where she'll want to dig in and go back to that yielding to lead pressure. So let's have a little look at this. So we're going to start moving backwards, cameraman, and we'll see whether I need to lure her, or through either the training or through following Sully, she'll get the picture and will come with us. So I'm going to give her a fair step. Zelda, let's go. Beautiful. And straight up. Now again, that might make me look good. I didn't have to do the lead pressure thing. My gut instinct tells me that she's following Sully in that situation more than she's following me. But I don't care. I'm not bothered about looking good myself. I just want the owner of Zelda to get the best possible experience. Again, all of this will get shaped with that formal heel work to help her understand exactly where I need her to be. But for right now, I just need her following us on a loose lead, not digging her heels in, not charging off in front, and not pulling to anything that she wants. We are literally 20 meters now away from my training paddock, where she's, you okay there, cameraman? Nearly dying. We're going to get to the paddock. We're going to let them off, and she's going to be able to have a nice run and play with Sully, because it's important to make sure that your training stays fun. And rewards for training don't always have to be food. They don't always have to be treats. She's desperate to play with Sully. And what she's going to have learnt is, come with us, migrate with us, behave, do as we ask. Then I'm going to reward you two with access to go and run, go and play, go and be dogs. But on my time, and at the right time, and in the right place, not when you dictate it. So we're down in my paddock, and this is something that I've been talking about more, and I do think it's important. And it is just to remember to have fun with your dogs. Now look, because I have good discipline, Uncle Sully, he knows what I expect of him. He's offered me the auto sit, and he knows to kind of wait and stay there. I'll work the same with Zelda. Zelda, sit. Sit. Good. Stay. Impulse control. Stay. Break. And now we can go and play. Again, you've just seen in real action Sully go from work mode, and he was serious and paying attention and listening. One word, yeah, go and have fun. Go and be dogs. Go and do this. Yes, training's important. Yes, socialization's important. Yes, manners is important. Yes, teaching your dog to walk on a loose lead is incredibly important. Yes, crate training is incredibly important. All of that stuff's important. That was beautiful there as well. I don't know if we picked that up, but these interactions with other dogs, where she was a bit silly with Sully then, and Sully told her. All of those things are important, but what is important is that you have fun with your dogs, and you let your dogs have fun, you let your dogs be dogs. But again, right time, right place, and when you say so, not when they say so. Be a loving leader, but be a fair leader. And that's all you can ask. It isn't rocket science. All of these things are fairly basic in the world of dog training. But it's when you put them all together and you layer them on top of loving leadership, which is where you're going to have the most amount of success. Now, we're going to let these dogs have a bit of a run now. We're going to let them have a play. Then Zelda, being a young puppy, will be absolutely cooked. So she's going to go and probably have a good 2-hour nap in the crate. And we're going to go through that same process again this afternoon. We're going to do some work on yielding to lead pressure. We're going to further doing some formal stuff. Then we're going to come out for another walk, where she's going to walk with Uncle Sully and she's going to learn. And through doing these things over and over again, building up the repetitions, keeping my expectations high, within a week or two, she'll be walking beautifully on a loose lead wherever we go. Then we'll start taking that into town centres. And at just however young she is, she'll have impeccable lead manners. And again, none of it's rocket science, none of it's militant, none of it's overly firm. Yes, there's some rules. Yes, there's some boundaries. Yes, there's some expectations. Yes, I enforce them. Yes, I have high expectations. But it means that I have control over dogs, and especially dogs as big as Connie Corsos, that when they go wrong, they can go horribly wrong.